you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Moses Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there are latest things that makes it official. Welcome to the show. We certainly appreciate you guys having us. As always, for 16 years and over 2,000 episodes, we've been bringing the Chris Voss Show, and we'll just keep right on doing it because, damn it, you can't stop us. I don't know what that means. Anyway, guys, be sure to refer your show to the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Today, an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking with Eddy Smits, and Eddy has a book that came out in 2015 called Model C, which is has an amazing story we're going to be talking about. I think you'll be inspired by what he has to say today and what's inside his brain. His brain he'll be sharing and all that good stuff. I don't know. That's the first time I've referenced someone's brain on the show. I don't know. Really? Yeah, we're just gonna have his brain. We're gonna remove it, Eddy, and just talk to it. Like I think isn't there a cartoon show about the future where they have just brains in jars and shit? Yeah. Eddy Smits is a TEDx public speaker and author and a licensed NLP practitioner. He is a certified management drives trainer, a certified cognitive behavioral life coach, and a certified master mindset life coach. He also has a bachelor's in pedagogy, which I believe is pedagogy. That means he pedals bikes? No, what is pedagogy?
Close. You're close. No, it's actually educating children. That's the art of educating, actually.
The art of educating. I love that. My mother was a teacher.
It's teaching, actually. Yeah.
And we'll get into it. He was a professional clown for 22 years and helped inspire a lot of people. I'm an unprofessional clown for the last 16 years on the podcast. As a hospital clown, he visited more than 10,000 sick and palliative children. To do this job, he had to display extraordinary leadership. He also became an expert in authentic communication. Since 2012, he's been active in the field of personal development, where he applies an innovative approach to coaching using techniques of a hospital clown combined with positive intelligence to increase mental fitness. Welcome to the show. How are you, Eddy?
I'm very good, thank you.
Thanks you. Thanks for coming. And I'm really excited to talk to you about this because this is really a heartwarming story that you have. Give me your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
It's easy. It's just eddysmits.com. So that's my website. And you also find me at LinkedIn. But I think, that's two best ways.
Eddy, give us a 30,000 overview of what you do there on your website, what people can find you're up to these days.
Yeah, actually, it's like you said in the perfect bio of me. So I get all my stuff, still get all my stuff from my years as a hospital clown, where I learned so much about people, about myself. And there, at some point, I had the idea of, hey, I'm working here with these children. I'm doing so much for the children, for their parents, giving them extra things in very hard times. I literally performed for children who had a few days to live. Wow. And then I had something, look, if I can do this job, if I inspire people like that, if I do this, which takes a lot of guts, actually, why can't I use that in my real life? Or why can't I use that in my business? Or why can't I use it in my family? And it turns out you can. You just need to do the same things, but not as a clown, as yourself, of course, but the techniques you use and the attitude you have as a hospital clown can be used in all other areas of one's life. So that's what I'm doing.
And I imagine it does take a lot of leadership to be a clown. I've often seen like celebrities go into hospitals, and I think when we were young, we used to go in and sing when we were kids. We used to go and sing for, I think, church. I know we did rest homes. I can't remember if we did hospitals, but I've always admired the beauty of giving in that way and giving hope, because hope is, I think one of the greatest things that makes the human race exemplary. I was thinking about this the other day, but I'm not sure I have the character and the wherewithal to do it inside of myself, to endure that sort of witnessing that sort of loss every day. I thought about doing that in dog shelters and stuff like that. How are you able to do that, maintain that, and and in the face of what is loss, smiling at a child, trying to make a child laugh, and be happy knowing they only have 2 days to live?
Yeah, it's a very good question, actually, and I'm not going too deep in it, but it's actually the clown figure, the clown mentality that helps you. For a clown, it's all play. We all look at things in a kind of different way, in a way that's an honest way, that's a truthful way. And even in the darkest day of children and families, as a clown, you accept, okay, this child is going to die. You accept it like it is. While as an adult, and especially as a parent, you don't accept that.
Yeah.
But the fact that we accept it as a clown puts us in a position that we can move on. We can just look at it as it's a little bit unfair to say that, but we have it easier to look at a child who is sick, who is going to die, because in the clown's mind, it's not so bad. A clown finds another perspective in even dying, which is, of course, the worst case. But a clown finds another perspective. And that's one of the things that when I work with people, I try to see things in another perspective. When somebody goes broke, right, that's also very bad. But as a coach, I try to see in another perspective. And that's exactly the thing that a clown does in the hospital. And for an outsider, it seems very hard. How can you, in heaven's name, see that in another perspective? But as a clown, you do. And it helps, because it helps the child, it helps the family, it helps everybody to see it in another way and to cope with it much better. So that's the job. And that's why a clown gets away with it in that kind of way.
That's pretty interesting. So would you say it's compartmentalized, where you?
It's really, you need to accept it first, because like parents often don't accept it. They fight with it. They are angry with it, which is all normal, of course.
Yeah.
But once you accept it, then you can move on. Once you accept you are broke, then you can figure out a solution how to get past it and how to get better and how to get money again. It's all the same. Once you accept that you've broken your arm, okay, now I can learn to write with my other hand, or now I can learn things that will help me to get over that. So acceptance is one. And a clown, and that's the beauty of a clown, he accepts everything. If you say to a clown, hey, you look like an idiot, he says, thank you. He accepts it. And that's the first step, and that's why we are one step ahead of the rest, actually.
Does recently my dog passed away last week, and I knew that that day was going to come, because in February of 2004, we'd had her diagnosed with leukemia. And so we were given about 3 to 4 months. We got about 6 months. It's right now September, for those of you watching this 10 years from now. I've been studying a lot of Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius, meditations, Epictetus. These guys talk a lot about death, Seneca. And I've been reading about memento mori. And one of the lines you used with me, you didn't fully say it is what it is, but you said it is what it is. You inferred that, and which is a line that a lot of people from Stoicism do. But studying memento mori, accepting death, Marcus Aurelius's quote, "Death smiles at us, we might as well just smile back," or something to that effect. That's really helped me. For the first time in losing a pet recently, and I've really gotten through it much better. And part of it is because memento mori talks about accepting the fact that death is natural, death is coming. you must accept it. Did you do any of that sort of study, or is that kind of a mix?
I learned it the hard way, because when I started as a hospital clown, it didn't exist here in Belgium. Yeah, you had one organization was a little bit into it, but you guys in America were ahead of us with those things, with Patch Adams and his whole movement. But we had to learn it. I know we started with 2 clowns back in the day, and we knew nothing about it. But here also the clown helped us, because as a human being, you have fear, you don't dare to do things, but as a clown you just go for it and you jump into it, Often it didn't work, right? But the more you did it and the more you got into that work, the more you found things that how you could do things and how you could make things acceptable and how you could talk about it. And, very often, especially in the last days of the life of children, parents wouldn't allow us with them.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. So it was, and that's why I say we needed a lot of leadership. We had really to convince these parents that we could do good with the children, but actually you don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't know. It can go either way, but there is the jumping in things which you need as an entrepreneur, which you need if you want to do things. You just need to jump into it, and once you jump, you can't go back. Yeah. It's like you're at the side of a pool, and you think, "Ooh, the water is cold," but once you jump, then you jump and you go into it, right? It's not feeling in the water with your toe and with your hands and ooh, no, it's the cold. No. You just jump into it, and then you swim. You have to, even if it's cold. And that's what a clown does, and that's why you can learn so much from that clown in real life, because most of the time in real life, if you think too much about things, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But if we jump into it, then we're in it. And then when challenges and problems come to us, we will solve them, But we can only solve them when you're in the water. I always say to people, you only can start to swim when you're in the water. You can't swim when you're out of the water. Yeah.
I've got kind of a comedy brain. Some people think I'm funny. I think other people think I'm just stupid and it's funny, but both work. I'll take both. Actually.
Absolutely.
I remember, one of the ways that I react to dark moments when I have some sort of clarity is with comedy. Mm-hmm. So, even right now, I'm suffering with COVID. My dog just passed last week, and I started writing COVID jokes today. Mm-hmm. What's funny about having COVID? That's what I'm doing today. Yeah. I started writing jokes in the morbid sense of it, and then yesterday I wrote, let's see, I lost my dog last week. I've got COVID this week. My other dog's sad. I'm quarantined. Sounds like I'm in a country song. And people on my Facebook are like, "Are you okay? You should really be in some serious pain right now." And years ago, I remember my father, he started having his heart attacks, his strokes, started that decline, that thing where you're coming to the end and everything's going off the rails. And he hated being in the hospital. He hated doctors, and he loved life, and he loved his family. And I remember he had one of his massive strokes. It was one of his last ones. And he called me, or I called him. I think I called him from the hospital, and I talked to him. And from the moment he picked up, I could hear the terror in his voice. He was scared. Yeah. And my father was a bit of a narcissist and didn't let off a whole lot of emotion, but I could tell he was scared. Mm-hmm. And he sounded just really like in fear. And so I started telling him jokes. I just went right to it. I didn't really think about it. It was kind of my way of dealing with it myself. As a comedian, I kind of process that in a way of trying to turn that around. And so I started telling him jokes, and, he drugged for a little bit, but then he started laughing. I was joking about, "Oh, are you hitting on the nurses there? You asked anyone out? How's that going?" He's married. And I started joking about hospital food, just stuff you can do off of the thing. And pretty soon I had him laughing. And so he went from scared, fearful, just afraid of the end, which is probably inevitable at that point, to laughing. And so somewhere in the midst of it, I've always pondered that moment in using comedy to give hope, using comedy to give levity to, is levity the right word? To give levity to life. And even though it's fragile at that moment, to be able to laugh at it. What are your thoughts on that? And then what are the things you're usually trying to achieve when you're working with a child? Are you trying to entertain, give hope, laughter, maybe all of the above?
I think you have a very valid point there. Whatever happens to you or the world or whatever, the moment people start telling jokes about it, that's the moment they start to heal. Even like when 9/11 happened, which was a disaster in every way, but you have to cope with it. You have to accept. You have to come over it. And at some moment, people started to tell jokes about it. And that's the point where they are healing and where they are looking forward. They're not looking backwards anymore. And so humor is something that can really help with that. At the other hand, it's always difficult to use humor. I always say humor is like a scalpel. The things that surgeons use. You can save a life with it, with a scalpel. But you can also kill somebody with it. It's just the way you use it, and that's the thing you have to figure out. As a hospital clown, that was the thing we had to figure out. Okay, what kind of humor works? How do we use that humor? Because when you use it wrong, it has the opposite effect, of course. And that's, for example, when you tell a joke too soon after something bad happens. Oh. When it's too soon, it's too soon, But then again, So I always say to people, if you don't spit it out, if you don't do it, if you don't throw yourself in it, you won't know. And here again, the clown doesn't have a fear of that. He just jumps, even if he smacks his face into the wall, doesn't matter, picks himself up, and he goes again. And even if he goes again to the wall, picks himself up and goes again, and he tries and tries and tries until he finds something that he can work with. And that's with all things. That's with the people that I work with. Also, sometimes we do something and it doesn't work. Okay, then we use the next thing. If that doesn't work, we use the next thing and the next and the next until it works. And at some point, it will work. And the longer, to go back to the clowning, the longer you were in the clown, the more experience you had, the sooner it worked. I could, at the end of my career as a clown, I could go into a room and within 10 seconds, I would have the kid laughing, jumping in bed, whatever he had. Yeah. Because you see the surroundings, you see the parents, you see the look at the kid's face. So you take that all in very quickly, where in the beginning you need to try out things, but at the end, you come into a room and it goes really fast. But there is always a way in, and that's the important thing a clown does. He connects, and the moment you have that connection, you can do anything. And connection is the beginning of communication, and from there on you go.
So tell us, how did you grow up? What influenced you? How did you get into working as a clown and then into the hospital field?
Yeah, so I'm from Belgium, grew up there in a little town. I had a great parents. I had a fine childhood. I played a lot. And for me, trouble, and with trouble, that's good trouble, started when I ended high school. That was 17, 18 years old. I really didn't know what to do. So I studied for a teacher. But in that period, it was a little bit dark in that way that I had a great thing of, why are people so mean to each other? And I also had a thing about this stuff. I still have it, dishonesty of people. I couldn't figure out, why are people not just honest about things? Hey, you want to go for a drink? No, I can't, because why don't you say, no, I just don't feel like it? Or why don't you just say the truth? And that being said, I was a teacher for a little while, and I couldn't cope with the whole structure. I wanted to be more creative, and at that point I got the idea. I found myself always happy when I was playing theater, when I was performing for people. So I started my own little theater, children's theater. I even started with puppet theater. Yeah, but at that point that wasn't really commercial anymore. There was not much demand for puppet theater, so I needed to come up with something that intrigue children and that was connecting with children. And in that period in Belgium, there was a clown on TV, and he had great success.
Oh.
And that triggered me. I said, okay, what's the thing with this clown thing? Why does it attract children? And that was the point where I went into it. And from there on, I threw myself completely in clowning. I worked with very good clowns. Then I got the opportunity to work in hospital, and that was, and I learned and learned and learned. And the beauty of clowning is you start with the red nose and with the paint and with the red shoes and with all this stuff, and you end up at the end of your career just a little red nose, just a little bit red on your nose. That's it. So you find out that it's not the red nose and not the clowns and not the thing that makes the figure attractive. You find out that what's behind it that makes it attractive. And once you figure that out, I think then you want a good path. It's more, it comes from the inside. It comes from a deep desire of inspiring and helping people. And from there on, that's what clowning is, actually. You want to help people, you want to inspire people, you want to tell the truth, but you are telling it in a way that you can get away with it. In old Middle Ages, clowns told the truth about the king and about the queen, and they got away with it, right? Because they did it in a way that they were laughing with it, And that's also what intrigued me, and still to this day, I'm straightforward. I will tell you the truth, but not many people can cope with the truth. But you need the truth to go to the next step. If I'm in a coaching conversation and I say, hey, you have to do 10 calls a day, and you're not doing 10 calls, you only do 2. That's just straightforward. You have to do 8 more calls, period.
Yeah.
And it's not, hey, maybe, I know you had a bad day, and so it's okay, but no, you did 2, you got to do 10. So tomorrow you do 10, okay? And, it's all that what keeps me. I call myself still a clown. Most people don't understand that, and they think clowning is all about being funny and being. No. There's a much deeper underlying thing there, and that's what I try to explain in my coaching. That's what I try to explain on stages when I perform, not perform, when I speak for people, but it takes a little explaining because nobody really understands what a clown does. And a lot of people like yourself, one of the questions is, how can you do it with palliative children? How can you? That's because it's underlying. It's not that, no, I want to make the skit laugh. No. It's much more, much deeper, much profounder. And 99% of my job is trying to explain that to people and then giving them these things so that they can use it in their own life. And that's my calling. That's what I love to do.
So we talked about how this transcends into leadership.
Yeah.
And there was something else we discussed on your website here that we were talking about.
Communication.
Authentic communication.
Yeah.
And tell us how this translates into that and how people can, if they coach with you, they can utilize the skills that you learned through being a hospital clown to the boardroom. In leadership, there's one golden rule in clowning, in hospital clowning. I mean, that is it's not about you. It's about the kid that's there, and you have to follow his lead. In the beginning, you make the mistake as a clown. You come in and you want to entertain with balloons or magic or whatever you have, but the more you clown, the more you follow his or her lead and see what the child needs. Right? Does she even like balloons? Maybe she's scared, or he's scared of balloons, etc., etc. Now, as a leader, you must do the same. I mean, you can't just push your thing to the people you are leading because you don't know if they are going to accept it or what I do with it. So you have to know the people first, and then you figure out, okay, how can I help them to achieve what I want to achieve or what I want them to be or to do. So here it's exactly the same. You have to remove your ego and you have to say, okay, how can I help these people? Not how can I obligate them to do this and this and this and this. That's a totally
different view. And a lot of leaders don't really listen to the people they lead. Mm-hmm. And the moment they start to listen, that's the moment they should know how to lead. So it's exactly the same as clowning. So that's a very, very, very important thing. You have to put in your mind, okay, as a leader, it's not about me. It's about the people I lead. It's about my company. It's about my brand. It's about all these other things, but not about me. Once you have that out of the way, then you are leading.
Yeah, I mean, it's service to others, right? When it comes down to
service to others, yeah. And the second thing I always do with people is, and that's actually the adult side of clowning, is the no nonsense, the comments. Please use your common sense. If people come up to you and say, hey, I'm going to let you earn 50K a month, and we're going to do that in 3 months, then common sense has to kick in. And that's actually also what a clown does. He starts laughing with it, and he says, no, I don't want to. No, we can't. It's not 50K we want in 3 months. We will do 200K. No, we will do 1,000,000K, right? So, of course, he laughs with it. But as in real life, please use your common sense, and people don't use that enough. And everybody has it. That's the thing, everybody.
Well, a variation of it. Let's put it that way. They don't have
a variation of it.
I met people that don't have a full deck of common sense.
Yeah, I know, but still,
Yeah,
you have it somewhere. You have it. Everybody has it, but not everybody uses it.
That's the thing. Everybody has it. They're just not using it. I like that. That makes complete sense. I love these ideas for inspiring people.
Is that my phone? No. Oh, sorry. Oh,
well, they wanted to get on the show. That's what.
Yeah. Let me close it.
Hey, he's on the show. Let's get on. It's not a call-in show, folks.
I put my phone off, but apparently my computer still does this thing. So yeah, sorry.
So let's talk about the services that you have on your website that you help people with your training and experience. You work with over 10,000 kids. That's just amazing and inspiring, and such a beautiful story. Tell us about the coaching and stuff that whatever you offer on your website, so that people can take advantage of it.
So at first, when I started as a coach, I had a lot of programs. You can do this program, you can this, and I let it all loose. Because there I made the mistake that I should have known by doing the clown work. Is you have to look at the one who is in front of you, right? You have to have a conversation with him or her, and then you decide, one, are we going to work together? Because there has to be a match somewhere. There has to be a click. And if there's a click, then you see the person, you talk to them, okay, and you ask, okay, what's your goal? Where are you going to go to? Because that's what the word coaching literally means, right? It comes from the English word coach, where this coach, this carriage, brought you from A to B. So that's also what a coach needs to do. It has to help to bring you from A to B. And mostly, he does that by just holding a mirror in front of you. There's, forgive me, I don't know who it's from, but there's a coach who says the lamppost technique. So what's the lamppost technique? It's just stand in front of a lamppost and spelling out loud what your problems are and how you think about things. You have to verbally say it. So that's what I do now with people. I have a conversation. I'm looking at, okay, where you want to go. You're at point A now. Establish that where you are. It's also very important, because a lot of people don't know where they are. And if you don't know where you are, then you can't go. If you don't know you're at place A, you can't go to place B. It's like with a GPS system, right? You have to know your location before you can go to the location you want. So that's important. Yeah, that's important. I established them with them. Yeah. And from there on, we go. We decide, okay, we want to work together or not. When we want to work together, we have a conversation every week. And every week, I give feedback on what they did and how they did it. And from there on, we go and we go and we go and we go further. And with all due respect, I think that's the only way to coach people. If you have a program, that's all well, but you have to be able to deviate from the program, because when your coachee doesn't need some things, you got to put it away. If you're trying something with a child in hospital, like a balloon, and the child doesn't like the balloon, okay, you have to put the balloons away and try something else.
So sometimes you got to get good at finding what entertains and how you can serve them the best.
And I do exactly the same with my coaches. I find out how can I serve them best. And sometimes it's just listening to them for 1 hour without saying one word. That's
really?
sometimes the best you can help people. They want to talk, that's a lamppost technique, right? So they talk but there's a big difference when you are figuring out things in your head, and then when you speak them out loud. It's a world of difference. When you speak them out loud, you really are confronting yourself with yourself, and you already are telling the solution to yourself, right? But when you keep doing things in your head and thinking about things, it doesn't work like that. So sometimes I really mean that. Sometimes I don't say a word, and at the end of the conversation, hey, they say themselves, they say, hey, that was helpful, that was insightful. And I go, okay, see you next week. Yeah, but they needed that at that point. And as a coach, I feel, okay, they just need to express themselves, to talk about things that they are busy at that time. And that's what I do then. Sometimes there are some exercises that I do with them. So you have to feel, you have to see, you have to connect with them and see what they really need. And at some point, they need this. The next week, they need something else. And that's why I don't keep fixed programs anymore, because you don't help people. Some people you help, very good, and others you don't help with fixed programs. So that's the work. That's how I work at this point with a coachee. And I realize that it's very hard to sell, but I'm doing it anyway, because I know that's the best way to help people.
This is pretty amazing. I love your inspiring story, how you've helped people do things, et cetera, et cetera. How can people onboard with you? How do they reach out to you and get involved with you and see if you're a fit?
Just through my website, do me an email, call me on WhatsApp, whatever. We'll have a conversation, and that conversation is just a conversation. And from there, we will see if you are a fit or not. Sometimes they really want to work with me. Yeah, I want to work with you. Want to work with me? Okay, say, okay, we have a conversation. And after that conversation, that I have to be honest, and I have to tell them, okay, I don't think I can help you. Or in the baddest case, I won't help you. I can't. It's not that I can't, but we do not click. I have no click with you. That's something I couldn't do in a hospital. Some children were very nice to work with. Others were, let's say it like it is, spoiled brats, right? But even with the spoiled brats, we did our thing, and at the end, we still accomplished something. But as a coach, I can say to the spoiled brats, I'm sorry, I'm going home.
So as we go out, give people your final pitch out in your .com so people can find you on the internet.
Yeah.
Just pitch people on...
sorry. Yeah, it's just eddysmits.com. That's my website. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Please say something to me. Just don't do only a connection request. Please start a conversation. Even if you think, no, I don't want to coach. I don't have an event where he can speak. That doesn't matter. Just connect. I love to connect with people. I love to have a conversation, even if it's very short. I have, I think, 5,000 people on my LinkedIn, which is not so much. But from these 5,000, I still need to talk with 4,000 people. So please talk to me.
Pretty amazing stuff you got going on here. Give us, did we get a .com from you as we're going out? I'm a little faded with COVID here.
It's just eddysmits.com.
Eddy, it's been wonderful to have you on. An honor. I mean, I'm so glad that you gave smiles and hope to people. This life is a treasure. This, I believe, as an atheist, I don't mean to push my things on people, so I don't know why I said that, but I believe that what goes on between birth and death is the most important thing you have, and you've won the lottery in the universe to actually get life. Because when you really study it, it's getting to be alive is one of the hardest things and against the odds of just about everything in the universe that can happen to you, and staying alive after that. And so giving people in their last moments of life hope, smiles, joy is what's going to make all the difference in what they remember and what they experience. I mean, there's no reason to
and not even only when they are about to die, during their whole life.
yeah. And that, that's the thing. If we could learn to serve each other and better as human beings instead of find each other, that would probably be great. Thanks, Eddy, for coming on the show. Thanks, Modest, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTokity and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other, damn it. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.
And smile.
And smile. I like that.